here. Welcome. I'm thrilled to see you, and I'm so glad you're joining today. I like to start on time. I always get bent out of shape whenever um, I'm running behind, usually due to an 11-year-old who has no concept of time, but I like to make sure that we are starting on time to honor your time and to just make the most of this hour that we have together. So I'd love to start by creating our space. So drop your name, location, and one of the things that feels like your biggest marketing challenge right now could be scattered, inconsistent, founder dependent, whatever's most true for your situation. Let me make sure I can see the chat. Amazing. Hey, Nancy. All right, I'm gonna actually also um, just confirm you can see my screen. I put our prompt for this um, question into the chat. So your name, location, and one word describing your biggest marketing challenge right now. Thank you for that validation, Nancy. Appreciate it. Um, okay, Candy, want to grow your reach with your business and your podcast. Wonderful. Where's everyone else calling in from? Where are you here? Hi, Mike, Overland Park, Kansas. Best cadence for newsletters. Perfect. Christina, hi. San Jose, indecisive, scattered CEOs. Yep, that totally makes sense. I'm with you there. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for popping in. Okay, okay, there we go. Crystal in Calgary, amazing. Thanks for joining. Feeling like I'm doing all the things. Spaghetti at the wall factor. Yes. Adam, hi. New Jersey lacking clear direction. Hi, Lisa. Targeted leads. All right, great answers. That's excellent. Okay, so I'm just gonna try. I always have to position my windows and screens so that so that I can see everything and also not get distracted. Okay, so lots of lots of similar answers. Scattered, inconsistent, yeah. Founder dependent, lacking clear direction. That's a common challenge, and we're going to address it today. All right, so I know you can see and hear me. That is excellent. All right, so let's first do a quick assessment. Where are you in your marketing journey? As I read these, I invite you to react with a thumbs up in the chat if this is exactly you, somewhat true, if it's like, you can choose your emoji to indicate how these scenarios resonate for you. So here we go. Your business has successfully grown through referrals, but you have hit a ceiling and you aren't sure how to break through. Or you are the primary driver of business development and marketing only happens when you have time for it. Or maybe this one sounds familiar. You tried hiring various marketing resources, maybe a freelancer, an agency, or even internal staff, but you haven't seen consistent results. And you might be starting to believe that marketing doesn't work for your business. Last one. You have kind of a plan. It's mostly in your mind, but it's basically a collection of tactics that you read about somewhere or a marketing manager has pulled together, and you're just not confident in your plan or that you actually have a plan. So tell me which of these resonate with you. Yeah, number 2, founder-led marketing. 1 and 2, yep, currently updating the plan, but you're doing all of the work. 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 1, awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, I mean, you have built something impressive. Your firm delivers exceptional work. You've streamlined your delivery. You are really good at what you do. You know you have the potential to scale, but there is a challenge, and your growth isn't keeping pace with your ambitions. Your marketing remains ad hoc and inconsistent, and frankly, it's out of alignment with the way that you want to operate your business. You have developed streamlined systems for creating change for your clients, and you do not have a streamlined system for creating change in your own business as it relates to growth. And the truth is that in order to break through to the next level of growth, marketing needs to transform from a sporadic activity into a strategic system that delivers leads consistently. Because in today's landscape, relationships and referrals alone won't sustain the growth you're capable of achieving. So thank you for your honesty. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all these responses. And it's clear that many of you are experiencing what I call the growth ceiling, which means what has gotten you here will not get you to the next level. And that's exactly why I created this session. So, my intention for our time together is that you get a clear framework for creating a strategic marketing function in your business that drives predictable results. And this system will actually help you scale and positions you to reach the potential you know your business has. A lot of people come to me saying that they know they're leaving money on the table and they know their business could be doing more. They just don't know how to create the structure inside of their growth engine to make all of that happen. So today we're going to cover the growth ceiling, why founder-driven marketing reaches a limit. We're going to talk about the marketing leadership gap, why being the de facto CMO doesn't work and creates traps and the specific traps that it creates. And I'm going to give you my implementation framework. This is exactly how I build strategy for clients, and it's how you can build a growth engine in your business. And I'm going to give you specific examples of how I've done that for other clients. Most importantly, you're going to leave with clarity about what your next steps are. No more questioning whether you're focusing on the right things or wondering if you're missing something obvious. So I invite you to grab your pen and paper or your note-taking app of choice and write down any ahas, write down any questions, and share your questions in the chat. We'll have time to share takeaways later, but if I don't get to your question during our time frame, I'm saving the chat and I'll personally respond. So I'm going to invite you to put a plus sign in the chat if you're ready to move forward and transform your approach to growing your business. Can I get a plus? Yay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Morgan. Nice to see you. All right. Let's do this. Okay, a little bit about me. So before we dive in deeper, I want to share a bit about my journey and why I'm passionate about solving this specific challenge for my clients. I spent 12 years in the New York City marketing agency world before starting my own business, and I've been in my business for 13 plus years. So that tells you how long I've been out there. I worked in every corner of marketing and PR from big agencies to niche firms. And then in 2012, I went out on my own. And because I realized that big marketing, like the big agency world that I was coming from, wasn't built to support small businesses. In fact, over the years, I realized that when small businesses hire agencies, even though agencies may have the best of intentions, what works for an agency what works for $1 million company or a company with $1 million marketing budget is not what's going to work for the small business. And agencies are tactical implementers that have a skill set that they bring to bear for their clients. And that agency world was not built to support small businesses. And I could go on and on about how agency work differs from the work that I do, but I'll save that for another time. For now, I'll tell you that I have been helping small businesses, or when I began in 2012, I started helping small businesses launch and go to market. And I did that for about 8 years, specializing in what I'd call now triage marketing. And these were for micro businesses and founder-led companies. These were firms that needed clients quickly. So we'd identify some quick wins, whether it was tweaking their messaging or evolving their sales process, or creating an event to generate immediate leads, and it worked. But over time, it began to dawn on me that everything that we were doing was dependent on the founder's hustle. It was their boots on the ground driving the marketing effort, even though I was advising them on the tactics to implement. The tactics weren't part of a cohesive marketing system. They weren't necessarily repeatable, wash, rinse, repeat, and they weren't scalable. So as the business grew, this process just became too onerous for a founder to take on. We needed to create that marketing function that took marketing off the plate of the founder. And this realization just completely shifted my approach. And so today I work exclusively with professional services firms that have achieved significant success through referrals and word of mouth. But despite their accomplishments, and sometimes because of them, because they've gotten so busy, they haven't had time to develop that marketing function in their business, or develop marketing leadership, or create a strategy, or create systems. And this is holding them back from reaching the next level. This is why I developed the system that I'm going to show you today. And I've implemented this framework over the years with dozens of professional services firms, and we've transformed scattered marketing efforts into a strategic function that consistently delivers measurable results. And that's a key word there. So I'm sharing this because I really believe in this work, and I really believe in the businesses that benefit from this work. And that's something that is a bit different about me than you might find if you were to work with a marketing agency. Is I am part of your leadership team, and I care about your business. So this work has helped clients break through their growth ceilings and create predictable results. So let's start with understanding what exactly is creating this ceiling. All right, so I have a matrix here for you. I don't know if any of you subscribed to New York Magazine back in the 2000s, but they used to have the approval matrix in the back of the magazine, and I really miss that. So I created a matrix here. I think that's what this might be called. And I'd like to understand how you feel about your marketing journey, not just where you are and what's happening, but how is it feeling? So type in the letter that would help best describe where you are. I actually should have put letters in this matrix. So let's start with A in the bottom left-hand corner. Are you doing random acts of marketing and are you feeling frustrated? Or B in the upper left corner, random acts of marketing, but you feel optimistic. C in the top right corner. Are you strategic and you have a system, but you still feel anxious? Or are you D in the bottom right corner? Or do you have a strategic system and are you feeling, I messed that up somehow. I mean, maybe just put what combo suits you best. Strategic and anxious is C, and strategic and confident is D. So let's see. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Strategic and anxious, strategic and anxious. Okay, great. So there is some method to your madness, but yet you're not confident necessarily that it's going to deliver the results that you're looking for. I saw Sarah Wallace. Hi, Sarah. Random and frustrated. Mostly A, but getting better. All right, excellent. Thank you so much for those honest responses. So it's important to remember that our businesses mean something to us. They are life's work or part of our life's work. And the emotional reality of marketing uncertainty or growth uncertainty can cause a lot of stress for leaders. And so I support that you have built something valuable, and the pressure to keep it up is to keep it up and to keep it growing is something that is constantly weighing on us. So today's framework is a practical system that addresses that and can also give you the peace of mind that comes from having predictable, sustainable growth. So now let's talk about what the growth ceiling is and what it actually looks like. So What does the growth ceiling look like when it's borne out or manifested in a company? It looks like a firm or a business that's grown successfully through referrals, but plateaued for years. Every time the leader focused on client delivery, marketing stopped. When the pipeline dried up, they'd scramble for new leads and potentially client work suffered. So it's this feast or famine cycle that prevented true scaling. And maybe to support, they've hired some freelancers or part-time staff or even agencies, but there's no strategic system that's guiding all of these resources. So they're bumping up against a ceiling that is not going to enable them to continue growing. And they probably have engaged in sporadic marketing activities. They've written some content and they were delivering on their content calendar for a couple of months and then momentum ran out, or they ran occasional webinars or sponsored events when they remembered to. But nothing was consistent and nothing was measured. Nothing was built on what worked previously. And there's really no understanding of what's been working to grow the business. So there's no possibility of creating a scalable system because there's no clarity in what's working. There's no clarity that can help you to move beyond that artificial barrier that exists that's preventing you from growing further. So how does this resonate with you? Type "that's me" if you're seeing any of these in any of yourself in these examples. How is this resonating? Okay. Do you guys not like this one? Not quite you. Oh, it doesn't resonate. Okay. I definitely want to learn more about what you have been doing that feels like it's keeping you stuck. We can address that. Okay, so let's continue because the growth ceiling exists for three key reasons. Founder dependency, when marketing relies solely on the founder's network and time. Tactical focus, when marketing consists of disconnected activities without a strategic framework or dedicated or even part-time marketing leader. It results in inconsistencies. And things become reactive instead of proactive when marketing only happens in response to a dry pipeline. You're always playing catch up. And so, tell me in the chat how this is landing for you and if you're ready to talk about breaking through the growth ceiling. And if this doesn't resonate with you, what do you feel is keeping you stuck? That's definitely going to be illuminating. So let's understand why the ceiling persists, and that's the marketing gap. This is the gap that keeps firms stuck in random acts of marketing. So this is sort of an illustration of what we've been talking about. Okay, great answers. Amazing. As a founder, I think where I get stuck is that I don't love marketing. Yep. Still working out your system, definitely always playing catch up. Yeah, referrals start drying up. Yep. There's got to be something to do now to be strategic. Yes, or you'll end up at this. Not dependent on you. You have a staff member who does most of the work, but the issue is lack of engagement. Yeah, so it's definitely challenging when you're not. So it seems like maybe there's a lack of clarity into what's going to move the needle as far as marketing. The marketplace is so crowded. Mike, yeah, definitely applies to some of your clients. We've talked about that. Yeah, I'm glad this is resonating. Okay, so I've left you with this blank slide. So let's continue. Um, okay, so if you are the one driving marketing, or even if you have a staff, sometimes what happens is you don't have a staff that is peopled with strategists. You have a staff that is tacticians. They're the ones that are building out, or they are the ones that are executing on your directives to move the marketing strategy forward. So on one side, of this marketing leadership gap. We have firm leaders who are delivering exceptional service, but they don't have the time, expertise, or desire to be marketing strategists. And on the other side, you have tactical executors, maybe freelancers or junior staff or various agencies who can implement but aren't positioned or don't have the experience to drive overall marketing strategy. And this is where there's a vacuum and a leadership gap where no one is truly owning the marketing function. And this creates three specific traps that keep us stuck in random acts of marketing. The ownership trap, meaning marketing is everyone's job, so it becomes no one's responsibility. This looks like just no one is driving the marketing initiatives forward. There are tasks that fall through the cracks because no one is truly accountable, or things get muddled because there's no true marketing hierarchy or system that clarifies who is doing what. So no one is specifically owning marketing. The other Another trap is the expertise trap. We know our services, but not how to market them strategically. And this manifests as hiring tactical specialists like web designers or content writers, social media managers, without a cohesive strategy to guide them, implementing the latest marketing tactics because you saw that a competitor did it or you heard about it in a webinar. And this is the should of marketing. You're shoulding your marketing, not because it serves your goals, but because you think you should be doing it. And it results in feeling overwhelmed by marketing options. There's just so many. Shiny object syndrome in marketing is real when you're a business owner. And finally, the measurement gap. We don't know what is working because we don't have a clear line of sight into how our marketing activities are. SOS is the worst. Okay, you're going to have to tell me what SOS stands for, Christina. So the measurement gap, it sounds like exactly what it is. We can't clearly connect marketing activities to business results. This looks like you're not creating shiny object syndrome. Thank you. Not creating, you're not connecting marketing activities to the results you want to see in your business. And this is a key part of the system that I implement for my clients. You're continuing. So in the before phase, in the measurement trap, you're continuing marketing activities just because you're inertiaing them. You're continuing with them because they're already in progress without knowing whether they're actually working. You're making decisions based on vanity metrics like followers or traffic or likes, rather than what your true goals may be, like lead generation and revenue, because those things are not being directly tracked based on your marketing efforts. You may also feel like marketing is a cost center rather than a revenue driver. Like it's something that I just have to invest in and hopefully I'll see returns, but I don't know for sure. So I'm curious if any of these resonate for you. The ownership trap, meaning you don't have a clear owner of marketing. The expertise trap, meaning that you've been hiring tactical specialists, but the people that you're working with don't have a clear expertise based on your business yes, exactly, Nancy. SOS is like emergency. Expertise trap or the measurement trap, where you're not measuring things exactly and connecting them to marketing activities. Yeah, expertise. Great. Okay. So measurement trap and ownership trap. Yep. That makes sense, Morgan. Okay. So this is what happens when firms fall into these traps. So the expertise trap definitely leads to the measurement trap. Yeah. Yep. A little bit of all of them. Yeah. Totally makes sense. Okay, so what ends up happening is we waste resources on disconnected tactics that don't build on each other. We kind of create marketing activities for marketing activities' sake because we think we need to be doing something. We create content or host an event or place ads without a strategic purpose or call to action. We lose momentum because marketing is always the first thing to be sacrificed when client work gets busy, or we miss opportunities to establish market leadership and capture high value clients and fall behind competitors who have actually solved for this. So what is the solution? The critical shift that must happen when moving marketing from marketing as a collection of random tactics that no one really owns to marketing as a strategic function with clear leadership looks like designating clear ownership of the marketing function, whether that's someone internal or external, ensuring strategic expertise is guiding tactical execution. And so that's the difference between just hiring an agency, which will always need to be managed, and they're kind of implementing tactics and having marketing leadership. There's a difference between those two. Marketing leadership needs to guide your agency, bring strategic expertise and strategic direction to your marketing tactics. So that's number two, and implementing measurement systems that connect marketing activities directly to business results. And what I mean by business results is like that is something that when I work with clients, we decide on together. What are the results that are really important to you when it comes to your growth? What are the leading indicators? What are the things that need to happen in order for the real change to happen? And so we track all of those potential results so that we can show that we're moving toward the goals that we've identified. And so when firms make this shift, everything can change. Marketing transforms from a frustrating money pit, or, I like to call marketing an investment, but in this case, you're kind of pouring money into marketing that may or may not work into something that's actually predictable and that's a scalable lead generation machine. So now I want to get to the peak framework. This is where my system comes in, the peak framework. This is the framework that closes the gap between reactive and random marketing and strategic, systematic, effective marketing. So let me show you how this works. Okay, so the peak system provides structure and predictability that is missing in a lot of these cases. So let's break down each component and let's see how it directly addresses the random acts of marketing that might be holding you back. So let's start with profile. Okay, quick survey. Type a number from 1 to 10 in the chat. How confident are you that you know with actual data? And so for those of you that feel like you're stuck in the measurement trap, this might be a triggering question. I hate to use that word. Which of your services generate the highest profit margin? Where are your most valuable clients coming from? And which marketing investments are truly delivering ROI? How confident are you can tell with actual data about what these are? Candy, amazing. You have numbers to rely on. Christina in the middle. Yep. Okay. So this is Mike 7. This is exactly why founder-led marketing hits a ceiling. Good job. Good job. Okay. So marketing decisions that are sometimes marketing decisions are based on gut feelings rather than data. And that is where we begin our work. So in the profile phase, this is actually one of my favorite parts of our work together. I get to become a detective inside of your business. I get to uncover what's really happening beneath the surface. And it isn't just about numbers. It's about finding patterns that most people don't see from the inside, because I'm an outside perspective, an outside observer. So we get really clear on which clients are making you money, where your best clients are coming from, what marketing efforts are actually working and which are wasting resources. We look at everything you've done for marketing and really discern what's working and what doesn't. But also, we look at it from the perspective of your team and who is doing what and what are they actually good at and do they like doing it? Because we want to create alignment in the department between strategy and execution and make sure that the right person is doing the right thing. So this begins to solve for all of those gaps, the leadership gap, the expertise gap, and the measurement gap. So we start to kind of illuminate the gap so that we can solve for the gap. So think of it as turning on the lights in a room where you've kind of been feeling around in the dark. We kind of start to get clarity where before there was um, marketing guesswork. So type clarity in the chat if you're starting to see how this initial kind of discovery and assessment could be supportive in developing a strategy. Now we're going to move on to envision. Okay. Type reactive in the chat if your marketing activities are often last minute or crisis driven, or they're sort of like when we get time to do it, or there's a conference that seems really cool and the deadline is in 2 weeks and we want to make sure that we are Camille, hi. We are pitching ourselves for that and we have to rush to get everything done. Like, where are you operating in this reactive zone when it comes to marketing? Definitely reactive. Okay. So this is another thing that keeps you trapped in the feast or famine cycle. So in the envision phase, we break this cycle. This phase is all about creating your plan. But what happens first is that we have to create the vision. And so um, we look at your vision, and then we also look at, this is one of my favorite things about this work as well. We look at low-hanging fruit. What can generate results in the near term, where we're not building out a 3-month plan where we're going to see results in the beginning of the next quarter. There are opportunities that come from, especially this profile phase, where I get to see, like, oh, I had a client actually last month who it came out that they had 4,000 contacts that had opted into their email marketing that never received any email marketing. And so it's like an amazing opportunity for us to build out a nurture sequence and move toward nurturing them as soon as possible. So we create your vision. We chart clear key performance indicators and targets that are specific to your goals. And then we can identify the marketing initiatives that are going to lead us to those targets. We create a focus areas that leverage your most profitable services, client acquisition plans, and brand positioning. However, we can begin to evolve your positioning in your space and create movement in your pipeline and begin to develop a plan so that we can capitalize on short-term wins and develop a plan for long-term growth. That is what happens in this phase. The plan begins to take shape. You get a strategic framework, we calendar everything, and we create an implementation plan that shows how all of this will come to fruition. Who's doing what? Who is actually the owner of each of the tactics? Now that you have ownership of your marketing function, you have someone like me that comes in and supports to build the marketing department. We also look at who all is implementing the marketing plan. So type roadmap if you're starting to see how this structured approach works. We profile, we do a discovery, and then we start to build the plan. Any roadmaps in there? Okay. I'm feeling thirsty, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the roadmaps. All right. So let's continue with activate. Type guilty in the chat. Actually, I changed this. I didn't want you to feel guilty. In my notes, I put yep. This is Sarah. I'm glad you're here because this is definitely, you're not the only business owner who's at the beginning of their journey in this group. I know that for a fact. And so, or even not necessarily even at the beginning of the journey, but is operating solo. And there's definitely, I'm going to tell you examples in a few minutes. It's important to have a marketing structure from the start. And there's also ways for me to support solo business owners. So hang in there, stick around, take what is meaningful to you and leave the rest. Yes, stick around. Okay, amazing. Okay. All right, so I didn't want you to feel guilty. So in my notes, I changed this to type yep in the chat. If you've ever abandoned a marketing plan or initiative midway to chase a new trend or tactic, or if you have, marketed in fits and starts, or like Christina, the SOS, shiny object syndrome, where you've gotten distracted. Oh my God, I love all of these versions of yep. Thank you. Yes, I'm actually not I'm not interested in purveying guilt, so or peddling guilt. So I had to change that. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so example of this, actually the client that I was talking about earlier that had oh, some people are messaging privately. Okay. Yeah, I mean, everyone should be able to message to everyone. So um whatever works. Okay. So the client that I was just talking about who had the $4,000 4,000 contacts that they never messaged, that they never emailed through their email marketing system. They after we created our plan, um, this is like a perfect example of shiny object syndrome and marketing leadership that can like keep everyone on task. And that's what Activate is all about. So this client messaged me last week about a $5,000 pay for play media opportunity, meaning you give this media outlet $5,000, they'll write like an advertorial for you. They'll put you on their social. They'll give you the badge that you were voted like best whatever firm of 2025. And we took a look at it. I come from a public relations school, so I'm not keen on pay for play because I don't think it generates the trust that earned media does. Like if someone were to write an article about you, but I wanted to evaluate the opportunity because you never know. This could have been an outlet that had major influence in this client's audience base. So we looked at the opportunity, we evaluated it against our strategy, and I suggested that they decline. So I prevented a shiny object syndrome, a shiny object, shiny object act. And we didn't do it, not because it was bad, but because it just didn't align with what our goals are with the strategy. This client wanted more conversions, they wanted more clients, and we ascertained that investing in that tactic, investing in that opportunity was just not going to bring them a new client. It was going to give them visibility and maybe a little bit of credibility, but it's not the thing that causes conversions. And so that's the power of having a strategic filter in your decision making. And that's what happens in Activate, because this is where we put the plan into action. We transform your strategy into concrete action steps, assign clear ownership so nothing falls through the cracks, establish team priorities so resources aren't spread too thin, meaning capital resources and human capital resources, and we create accountability systems so that everyone is on track. So the result is, instead of random acts of marketing, you get marketing that works even when your team is focused on client work, lead generation that doesn't depend just on your personal network, and a system that produces results consistently, not occasionally. So Type yes in the chat if you are an action taker. And so the idea of having a strategy, but also, yes, an action plan to make sure that strategy gets deployed. Type yes if that sounds good to you. Yes. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Okay. So let's keep going. Kindle. This is the last phase of our peak system. This is where we ensure that the marketing fire keeps burning rather than flaring up and burning out. So, when was the last time that you felt like you had momentum that lasted, where you weren't consistently feeding the fire yourself, where you felt like you had support and the resources to have that momentum in your business without constantly being in hustle mode. So just think about that moment in time. And I want to sort of articulate that if it's hard to remember a time where you weren't constantly on that treadmill, you're not alone. This is a common phase for any business owner. You're on client acquisition treadmill. So for most firms, marketing momentum dies because no one is actively kindling the flame, monitoring, measuring, and adjusting. So the Kindle phase um, solves for this by creating dashboards that show us what's working in real time. So we're monitoring our marketing activities, regular review cycles. So I build my strategies on quarterly timeframes. And so we have a system that we have a strategy, we implement the strategy, we review the strategy, we iterate on the strategy, and then we implement the strategy, we review the strategy. So it continues. We have an implementation system that maintains consistency, processes. So basically, we're operationalizing marketing and creating an operational system that can continue working over time and scale with your business. Another thing that I love about this phase is that through the iteration process, I get to be your thought partner. I get to be your strategic ally in growing your business the way that you want to grow your business. And I also get to support the marketing staff or any tactician that we bring in to implement any technical aspects of our marketing. I get to be that leadership, and you don't have to be, the founder doesn't have to be involved in that, because again, we're trying to avoid you being the de facto CMO in your business. And this is where everything comes together. We're not just launching campaigns. We're not just randomly doing marketing whenever it seems like there's time for it. We are delivering leads during your busiest periods. We are making decisions based on real data. We're maintaining momentum without these constant heroic efforts and launch, like very stressful push modes. And we're producing predictable results. Business nirvana. Amazing. So this is the difference between perpetually starting over and building your marketing strategy or tactics every, so often when there's time, to building something that creates a system that works and then improving that system. So as an example, one of my clients, for one of my clients, a speaking strategy is the thing that's going to grow visibility for new service providers. They have new staff members who need to increase their visibility so that they are contracted for more of the work instead of just the founder being the key service provider. And so every year they book themselves on to speak at conferences. But every year they were starting that pitch process from scratch. And so one of our supportive strategies was to create a speaking pitching strategy. So it supports their pitch activities, it tracks their acceptances, it provides analysis, it helps them start to create relationships with decision makers. and it keeps them on task to perform that task consistently and easily over and over again. And this part of this can be as simple as that. So type momentum in the chat if you're ready to begin to feel like you aren't constantly on that treadmill or on that hamster wheel. Have you ever been on a treadmill where it's just free mode where you have to like actually create the movement of the tread itself? So that's the sensation of doing marketing yourself, and momentum is the is like turning the treadmill on. So it's giving you that support. Okay. I don't know if that resonates. Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Um, okay. I know Peloton sometimes makes you do a free mode if you in any particular class. They used to at least. Okay. I do know what you are talking about. Thank you. My obscure tread references. Okay. So this peak system ensures that you know exactly where to focus, have a clear destination and path, that you're implementing the right activities for the right reasons, and you're maintaining momentum rather than starting from scratch each time. You're not pushing that tread for momentum. So this is it in its most simplest form, and leave it to me to make a short story long. So here we go. All right. So type fire, give me a fire emoji if you're ready to move beyond random acts of marketing and create and build sustainable systems that drive growth. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how I have helped firms actually implement this so you can see what it looks like in action. Amazing. Thank you. All right. So here's how the peak system transformed marketing chaos into strategic growth. And these are real challenges that professional services firms face, and how a systematic approach made a dramatic difference. So in this first example, it's a real client quote. Growth has been limited by the founder's personal network and time. I built this organization on my back as the primary rainmaker, and there's only so much of me to go around. And so this is the client I was referring to with that back list of 4,000 plus contacts that we were able to capitalize on. So we reviewed their departmental structure, their marketing function, and we identified the leadership gap as well as this amazing near-term opportunity. We shifted marketing focus to proactive client acquisition, transitioning current clients to their new business model, another kind of quick win opportunity, and created a marketing function where before marketing was really relegated to like anything that could ever be considered marketing. Like, here, make this flyer for our golf outing sponsorship, or here, create a branded version of this proposal. And they were just sort of like behind. They were always behind. Everything was a rush, and they weren't, this marketing department wasn't doing anything to proactively create leads for the business. They were just sort of like the administrative marketing. And so in this situation, we were able to replace random tactics with a cohesive strategy, focusing on what actually moves clients through their pipeline. And we gave junior marketing staff clarity and strategic support, which is one of my favorite things, is sort of being a guide and a mentor to those coming up. Okay. And basically, we established their marketing department, a rhythm of consistent activities as well as consistent meetings and reporting, so that there was direction instead of marketing panic. Okay. And as a result, this firm has a pathway to new high-value clients through strategic marketing channels, transforming founder-dependent marketing into a scalable organization, positioning them for market expansion. They're actually expanding into new markets, which is not possible when marketing is founder-led, because the founder can't be in multiple places at the same time. Okay. Let's talk about the reactive marketer. So this actually was a solo entrepreneur that I worked with to help her launch her business and get it moving. She was launching a fractional CFO agency with an innovative service, but struggled to communicate its value. I'm wearing the marketing director hat because she was the business, but it's not my expertise. I have an innovative approach, but I can't explain it in a way that resonates with my audience. I'm spending lots of time on it, and it's frustrating because I don't know what I'm doing. So when we worked together, we created her messaging, how she talked about what she did. We established a strategy that she could implement that was relationship driven, but was basically scaling relationship driven marketing. So it mimicked word of mouth, but it could reach more people through a strategic partnership strategy, education, and trust building. We implemented content marketing and an event strategy to educate their audience and created sales assets that clearly articulated their value. And again, established key strategic partnerships and sustainable systems. So these results were absolutely amazing because this founder really worked hard and built a revenue to mid six figures in her first year. But what benefited her over time was that the marketing was strategic from the start rather than scattered. And so they were able to create and maintain that momentum into year two, where she was tracking to even double that. Okay, finally, a professional development company on the brink. This was a high ticket, high touch professional development training service that came to me when they had to cancel sessions due to low enrollment. Years of inconsistent marketing left us struggling to attract new prospects or even convert those in our pipeline. We just didn't have a system for nurturing leads. So this was where our quick wins really also were super exciting because we got to analyze their database and identify all of the outstanding contacts that had begun the sales process but hadn't closed. And we implemented a close strategy to close all the loops on outstanding sales. Developed a turnaround strategy that included personalized outreach, exclusive trainings, and structured group sales calls, which leveraged the sales leader's time, and created specific enrollment targets and a lead nurture blueprint so they could repeat this. We implemented a launch system that was repeatable and effective and ensured that no lead fell through the cracks. And we created a systematic lead nurture process that mirrored their personalized high touch training approach to maintain momentum between enrollment cycles. So this was a really cool result too. Acquisition jumped from one client in the month prior to the start of our work to 14 people in just 6 weeks, mostly because we closed all those open loops that just didn't have a sales process to guide them through to close. And we activated that launch strategy that provided a journey for prospective clients to engage with the brand until they were sure that they were ready to buy. And this generated $250,000 in revenue in just a short time. Okay, so those are my 3 examples. And what I want to ask you is, do you see the pattern? In each case, Peak transformed random acts of marketing into strategic, sustainable growth, from founder dependent to sustainable systems, from reactive and scattered to strategic, from unmeasurable to clear metrics, and from burnout inducing to momentum building. So do you see the pattern? So I'm curious to hear from you. Drop a plus sign in the chat if any of these examples resonate with your experience. Awesome. All right. Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm glad it's resonating. And okay, so where does this leave you? Based on what we've covered today, what's the one area that needs your immediate attention? Drop your answer in the chat. Is it breaking through your growth ceiling? Do you need to move past referral marketing? Do you need to address the siloed contractors in your current marketing function? Do you need to stop doing things ad hoc or when there's time? I need a sip of water. Part two, second option. Do you need to stop with the ad hoc? Yeah. Close your marketing leadership gap, making sure that there is a clear owner of marketing, making sure there is a marketing expert in the mix. Start making decisions based on metrics. Get past referral marketing. Yeah. Or do you feel like you need to implement a structured marketing system? Which part of these resonates with you the most? Do you feel like you need a system working to establish growth in your firm? So no, you're no longer wondering where leads are coming from. Get past referral marketing. Yeah, that's super common. All right, so drop your answer in the chat. Also, drop any other key takeaways as we're coming down to it. I'd love to need a system big time. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so thank you for sharing. And I just want to, in the next 5 minutes, because like I said, I like to be on time. Thank you for your presence here. And regardless of where you feel you need to focus, the solution starts with the same foundation, building a system that supports scalable, predictable growth. You've identified through this journey that it is impossible to be the organization leader, its primary thought leader, the service delivery expert, the client lead, and the marketing leader. Like that is a lot to shoulder. So creating evolution in your organization requires support. So if you are wondering what your specific next step should be, you and I should have a conversation because we can talk it through. So if you're ready to take action, I'm opening my calendar for strategic marketing planning sessions. And in this session, we're going to conduct a deep dive and look at what feels challenging right now, uncovering gaps that are preventing growth in your business. We'll look at where you want to take the business. So a little bit of that visioning. What do you want to create? What are your goals? And we'll look at what's blocking that. What blocks exist that are keeping that vision from coming to life? And we'll create a custom roadmap for what this might look like in your business, ensuring that you have strategies, an execution plan that aligns with your long-term goals and what support you might need to enact that. So these sessions are highly focused and actionable, and my contacts, friends, clients who have gone through this process have all walked away with clarity and strategies that have led to increased client acquisition. This session in and of itself is going to be inspiring, whether we continue to work together beyond it or not. So I have several openings in the next couple of weeks available. You can go to amandaberlin.com/consult. And I encourage you to do that now because usually after webinars like this, we are fired up, we're ready to take action. So now is the time to take this action before life and work take over again, before what feels compelling right now starts to fade into the background and you're lamenting the same things you were lamenting at the beginning of the year, promising yourself you'll do something different. Now is the time for us to talk because doing things differently doesn't have to be so hard. And I can help you to create a smooth pathway to find that growth that you're looking for in your business. So again, in this session, we look at where you are, we look at where you want to go, we look at what's keeping you stuck where you are, and we identify what your path forward might be. So if you're ready to connect with me in a one-on-one conversation, ready to move beyond random acts of marketing and create the growth in your business that you know it deserves and that you know you deserve, then let's talk. amandaberlin.com/consult. And I can't wait to see your names pop up on my calendar. But feel free in the last minute or so that we have to put any questions you have in the chat. And if I don't get to all the questions, or if there are no questions, you'll still hear from me in your inbox But I'm really grateful that you took this time today to give back to yourself. As business owners, we are constantly giving to our clients and pouring into our business. And it's a relief sometimes to take some time and nurture your own business development. I am so excited, Sarah. I will definitely look forward to talking to you. I'm so glad that you were here. And I'll wait another second or two for any other questions, but I'm so grateful for your presence and your interaction. And I can't wait to see what you all do next. Thank you. Thanks, Christina. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Mike. Hi, Karen. Great to see you. All right. Thanks, everyone. Talk soon. Thanks, Camille.